Hello guys, today we're gonna look at echoes and more importantly everything you need to know about echoes and how to get them and what you need to do when you're starting out. So we have a lot of different stuff going on with echoes. We have first of all their cost, so we have 1 cost, 3 cost and 4 cost. Basically the 4 cost is your bosses. 3 cost is some of the more rarer units or enemies in the world. 1 cost is like the most simple units you can get, and they are really easy to farm. And how they changed them recently is, for example, with bosses, they are like instantly respawning, so farming them these days is really easy. What you need to get on these bosses depend very much on what Resonator you're going for. So, for example, here we have Jijan's, and he's going Nightmare version of Feline. Here I want crit damage, and I can also get crit rate again here as well. Attack and energy. Because you need energy on Jijan. So that's what I want to focus on. So this isn't perfect yet, but it's pretty close to it. So depending on the Resonator you're going, and you will have to look this up when you start farming. First you need to check out what 4 costs do my Resonator want or need. And then you can start focusing that. Do I need crit damage? Do I need crit rate? And also if we jump over to Shorekeeper pretty quick. So, as you can see, it's a bit different with the Shorekeepers, what they suggest here on the main stats and what you want to get. For example, here you have HP, energy, healing bonus, and crit damage, while when we checked out on Jijan, he got attack percentage, aerial damage, because he's an aerial hero, and you got crit rate and crit damage. So, stuff like that will differ a bit. And then we also have the 3 cost, where you have area damage, attack percentage, and energy regen. And once you go into Shorekeeper, you also see here you have energy regen, HP, spectral damage, and attack percentage. So you have a lot of different stats, and depending on your Resonator once again, and it depends on the Resonator what kind of stats you want here on the 3 cost. For example, Shorekeeper you find going energy regen because you really want to have her resonance liberation up all the time. And for a DPS character like Jijan, we want his element. So we have arrow here, and that's what we want to focus on him. So when you farm echoes, or when you equip echoes, that's what you want to be looking out for first. And we then have the 1 cost that basically goes attack percentage, HP, or defense percentage. DPS, of course, wants the attack percentage. Some of the supports want HP percentage, and some of the support scales with death percentage, but you have to look that up as well. I can't go into every Resonator in this video. So what you usually do with echoes is that you have 1 boss echo that you equip in the slot on top, and it's also that echo that decides what ability you will have on your Resonator when you use the echo skill. You then go 2 3 costs, and then you go 2 1 cost, and that's because you want to use up as much of this as possible. And you also want to get the Sonata effect, so you get, like, for example, here you have the 5 out of 5 air damage plus 30% for 15 seconds after releasing into skill, for example. That's really nice. So that's why we want to make sure we have 5 echoes equipped here, and that's why you always go 4 3 3 1 1 on the echo cost. Also, in the echo menu you can see the stats here. Here you have all the stats that your echoes is contributing to your Resonator's overall stats. That's also a good way to keep track of how good your echoes are, and here you can understand more about what you need to improve. We also have the echo upgrades, and one thing I recommend you guys do is go into the auto select settings here and put on level cap and confirm that, and then you add step by step. So now it brings me to +5, then to +10, and then to +15. And this is the first step where I stop. And now I tune this echo. And how about that? I got some decent stats. This would be way better if it was attack percentage, but I got crit damage. And when you're starting out and you don't have any echoes at all, what you can do is get it to +20. See if you get crit rate. No, I didn't get crit rate. So guess what? If this echo is better than the one you currently have equipped, then equip this one, of course. But I wouldn't be bringing this up to +25 because death doesn't really do much for my rover, and it would be a bit better if that was attack percentage, and it would be amazing if one of either the attack or death stats that I got would have been crit rate instead. Then I would consider bringing this up to +25. If we had crit rate here instead and attack percentage, I would bring this up to 25. Even though the crit damage isn't max or that high, it's good enough, and it will take you a long time before you have echoes with perfect stats anyways. So you might go with something that will keep you going for a while. But that's the upgrading system, and you can also go in and put in these stuff manually, and as often as you can try to grab sealed tubes, because it's really easy to run out of echo experience once you start getting some resonators up and you need to farm and replace your echoes on them. So keep that in mind, and don't go too far with the levels on your echoes because you will waste XP that way. And even if I were to do +15 and get bad stats on this echo, it's not wasted, because if I just go into someone else, let's say this one is not great to upgrade, but I can throw this one in and it will use the XP I've already put into that echo. So have that in mind. That's also why you don't want to go to +25 all the time, because you're wasting a lot of XP, because the amount of XP required to go from +20 to +25 is so much higher, so you don't want to waste it. We then come to the next step in the echo farming or understanding echoes, and that's the databank. And depending on how far you've gotten in the databank, it will give you different benefits. So for example, right now it's base 20% drop rate on all of them. Here I have enhanced drop rates on like bosses and so on, and weekly bosses as well. And here we have the highest drop rarity. So right now, if I were databank level 10, the highest I could get is 4-star, and it's 30% for it to drop. So this is really important to keep in mind before you start really farming up echoes. At 15, you can see here, that's when you start getting those 5 stars. We go back to 14, you can't get 5 stars, but at 15 you get 5 stars. So it's really important to get up your databank, and you really want to get as far up here as possible before you start farming those echoes. And at databank level 21, you see here, you have 100% drop rate on 5 stars. So this is when you want to start farming echoes, because before that it's kind of inefficient, because getting drop rates just in general with 20% and you're farming like 3 costs, which are pretty rare in the world depending on what type of 3 cost it is. It can be quite annoying if you get like the stats you're looking for, but it's a 4-star instead. You still want to replace them, because 4 stars has less basic stats and has a lower maximum capacity of stats as well compared to 5 stars. So you really want to get up to 21 before you start farming echoes. And we then come to the next part, making dishes and food. So as you can see here, lemon braised pork increases echo drop by 20%, lasting for 30 minutes. only effective on your own Resonator in co-op mode. So you can't like going crazy and having your friends stack up percentage and then go out farming. So this is one way to boost your echo drops even further. You saw that base race was 20%, so this will get you up to 40. And we then have sweet and sour pork as well, which increases the drop rate by 50. And that's for 30 minutes as well. And same thing here, it only affects your own Resonator in co-op mode. So you can't stacking up that drop rate like crazy. And if you do one of these dishes, you're at 70%. So it should be dropping a lot. We then come to the next part. And in the guidebook, you can go over here. We can go into tacit suppression. And in here you will find every tacit field, and depending on what you're looking for, so for example, if you're looking for Molten Rift, you need to go into Port City of Jeju. So here you need to figure out which set you're going for and going there. But a reminder is still that you need that Databank to be level 21 before you start spending wave plates, because that's also one of the things with tacit fields. To get the rewards once you're done, you need to use wave plates to get it. So that's also really important that you don't go around and wasting your wave plates before you can guarantee those 5 stars, because it's guaranteed that you're getting these types in here. So getting that Databank up is even more important. We then have the open world option, where you can go in and look up a set. So, for example, if I wanted to go for Molten Rift because I want better echoes on my... You see it? Then I have on 3 costs, for example, because that's what you want to like aim to farm. When you're running around getting the 3 costs, you will see 1 cost around in the world and you can just kill them as well. To be efficient in here, once you start looking up a set, maybe you have more heroes you need to build. For example, I was building my Havoc Rover at the same time as I was building my Zacess, and guess what? They both need a Havoc Dreadmane. So farming the Havoc Dreadmane was really efficient for me because it could give me the element of 2 different heroes I need. So I have a higher odds of getting something I need from that. But it will always randomize main stats. So even if you, for example, get that fusion element you want on your Dreadmane, maybe you won't get fusion damage as your main stat. And that's what's making them really rough to farm sometimes. Because if we jump into Jijan, for example, like look at all of these I have right here. Here it's gotten fusion damage, Havoc, fusion, Electro, Havoc, Glacio, Havoc, Spectro. Like many times it will end up like this. But every now and then you will of course get the stat you need, like here. And that's when you can start upgrading your Echo. And with this open world, it's really easy. You just go in, you press detect, you can track them, you can press proceed, and then you just go around, quickly go over here and kill it. So now I'm here, really easy. Can just do that, and then I ulti. And as you can see, I can now go into the map, and they have made a new target for me. Really good and real simple way to farm echoes and making sure you get from the correct echoes for your resonators. Another neat trick is that if you and a friend want to farm, you can do it together. And also, if you end up farming all of the echoes in your map, you killed all of them, you can go into another player's world if you have some friends on your friends list and start killing stuff in their world instead. So you can farm more echoes than you currently have on your own map or what's available to you. So that's also a really good way to get echoes. But as always, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.